Podcast title: The Boardroom Blueprint. Tagline: Insights into corporate governance, board leadership, and ethical business strategy. Episode focus: Decision-making in the boardroom, how good boards make hard choices. Welcome to the Boardroom Blueprint, your insight into corporate governance, board leadership, and ethical business strategy. I'm your host, Sriram, your guide to better governance. Today's episode focuses on where governance ultimately succeeds or fails, decision-making in the boardroom, and how good boards make hard choices. Boards exist to decide, yet many boards struggle not because of a lack of information or intelligence, but because of a lack of decision discipline. Let's begin with an uncomfortable truth. Boards often avoid difficult decisions. They delay, defer, or dilute choices when the stakes are high, trade-offs are uncomfortable, or accountability is unclear. This avoidance is rarely intentional. It often shows up as requests for more information, additional scenarios, or future reconsideration. In reality, the board may already have enough insight to decide, but not enough alignment or courage. Independent directors play a critical role here. Because they are not part of management and not embedded in internal politics, independent directors are uniquely positioned to ask, what decision are we actually postponing and why? Avoidance is not always passive. Sometimes it appears as decision paralysis. Decision paralysis occurs when boards become trapped in analysis, endlessly debating risks without moving toward resolution. At the other extreme is rushed consensus, where boards move too quickly to agreement to preserve harmony or meet timelines. Both are governance failures. Decision paralysis erodes momentum and accountability. Rushed consensus masks disagreement and increases the risk of blind spots. Effective boards understand that healthy tension precedes sound decisions. This is where independent directors matter most. Independent directors help surface differing views, test assumptions, and slow down premature agreement without stalling progress. Their role is not to force unanimity, but to ensure the decision has been fully examined. Deadlocks are another reality in boardrooms, especially when decisions involve capital allocation, leadership changes, or strategic pivots. Breaking deadlocks does not mean overpowering opposing views. It means reframing the decision. Independent directors can help by clarifying what decision must be made now versus later, separating facts from beliefs, distinguishing reversible decisions from irreversible ones, and bringing external perspective to entrenched debates. Often, deadlocks persist because the board is debating symptoms rather than the underlying choice. Decision quality improves when boards clearly separate information, debate, and decision phases. Too often, these phases blur together. Information is presented while debate is already underway. Decisions are implied without being explicitly articulated. Silence is mistaken for agreement. Good boards impose structure without rigidity. First, information is absorbed and clarified. Second, debate is encouraged, including dissenting views. Only then does the board move to a decision. Independent directors are especially important in enforcing this discipline. They can pause the process, name what phase the board is in, and ask whether the decision criteria are clear. Another overlooked aspect of decision-making is documenting dissent and judgment. Board minutes often record outcomes, not reasoning. Yet the quality of governance is reflected not just in what was decided, but in how the decision was reached. Documenting key considerations, alternative views, and the rationale for the final decision serves multiple purposes. It strengthens accountability. It protects directors acting in good faith. It supports learning and reflection. For independent directors, recorded judgment matters. It demonstrates independence in substance, showing that views were considered, challenges raised, and decisions made with care. Finally, it is important to remember that board failures are rarely the result of one bad decision. They emerge from patterns, avoidance of hard choices, unresolved disagreements, pressure to conform, and decisions made without clarity or ownership. Strong boards interrupt these patterns early. They accept that difficult decisions are inherent to governance, not signs of dysfunction. They recognize that disagreement is a resource, not a threat, and they rely on independent directors to bring balance, perspective, and discipline to the process. Good governance is not about perfect decisions. It is about deliberate, well-reasoned decisions made at the right time with eyes open to their consequences. Thank you for listening to the Boardroom Blueprint. Lead with integrity and govern with purpose.